Good evening. World leaders have gathered in Baku, Azerbaijan for the 29th session of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP29, under this year's theme, Investing in a Sustainable Planet for All. And representing His Highness the Emir Sheikh Mishal Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, at COP29 is His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Sabah Khalid Al Hamad Sabah, may Allah protect him. COP29 provides a vital platform for global collaboration in reducing emissions and promoting sustainable development to address the pressing impact of climate change. Today's coverage will explore COP29 with insights from experts and guests here in the studio, including participation at the conference. First, let me welcome our first guest today, Dr. Khalid Mehdi, Associate Professor at the College of Engineering and Petroleum at Kuwait University and former Secretary General of the Supreme Council for Planning and Development. It's a pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you very much, my dear, for inviting me to shed the light on the Baku COP29.
So you're always welcome. But before we get into it, let's turn to the speech of the representative of His Highness Emir, His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid at the convention in Baku.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فخامة الرئيس إلهام حيدر أوغلو علييف رئيس جمهورية أذربيجان الصديقة، معالي السيد أنطونيو غوتيريش الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة، أصحاب الفخامة والسمو والمعالي، الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسرني بداية أن أنقل لكم تحيات حضرة صاحب السمو أمير دولة الكويت الشيخ مشعل الأحمد الجابر الصباح حفظه الله ورعاه، وتمنيات سموه بالتوفيق والنجاح لهذا المؤتمر الهام. كما يسعدني أن أعرب عن شكري وتقديري لجمهورية أذربيجان الصديقة على كرم الضيافة وحسن التنظيم. السيد الرئيس، لا شك في أن ظاهرة تغير المناخ أصبحت هاجساً عالمياً وتشكل تهديداً للعديد من الدول، ومنها دولة الكويت التي أصبحت آثار تغير المناخ فيها ملموسة ومتسارعة، من ارتفاع متزايد في درجات الحرارة والعواصف الغبارية وندرة تساقط الأمطار، والتي باتت تؤثر على الحياة اليومية. ومن هذا المنطلق فإن دولة الكويت ملتزمة بالسعي لتحقيق الاستدامة البيئية وتنفيذ التزاماتها تحت الاتفاقية الإطارية لتغير المناخ وبروتوكول كيوتو من خلال جملة مشاريع وإجراءات وطنية. وتأكيد لمبادئ اتفاق باريس، فإن دولة الكويت تدعم مبادرتي الرئاسة النداء للهدنة والمياه من أجل التغير المناخي. وتدعو دولة الكويت الدول المتقدمة للإيفاء بالتزاماتها تحت الاتفاقية الإطارية وتقديم الدعم المالي والتقني وبناء القدرات اللازمة للدول النامية والأقل نمواً لتمكينها من مقاومة آثار تغير المناخ والتكيف معها، والقيام بتنفيذ مساهماتها المحددة على الصعيد الوطني. السيدة الرئيس، لم تتوانى دولة الكويت ممثلة بالصندوق الكويتي للتنمية الاقتصادية العربية عن دعم العديد من الدول النامية من خلال تقديم حزمة من المشاريع لخفض الأثر المناخي عبر تقديم 1330 قرضاً ومنحة تقدر قيمتها ب23 مليار دولار أمريكي. وتلتزم دولة الكويت بجهود موائمة النمو الاقتصادي مع التنمية منخفضة الكربون والمرونة في مواجهة تغير المناخ بحلول عام 2050 والوصول إلى الحياد الكربوني في عام 2060، وذلك من خلال تبني العديد من المشاريع الاستراتيجية للحد من انبعاثات الكربون، بما فيها تعزيز مشاريع الطاقة النظيفة. كما تطمح إلى الوصول لنسبة 50% من حصة الطاقة الشمسية من إجمالي إنتاج الكهرباء بحلول العام 2050، وإدخال تكنولوجيات جديدة منخفضة الكربون، وتطوير شراكات طويلة الأجل لاستثمار فرص الطاقة المستدامة، وتتطلع إلى تحقيق خفض انبعاثات الغازات الدفيئة بنسبة تصل إلى 80% بحلول عام 2040، آملين في أن تساهم جهودنا المشتركة في تحقيق مستقبل مزدهر يعود بالخير على الجميع. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you.
The participation of the representative of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al al-Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, His Highness the Crown Prince, Sheikh Sabah Khalid al-Hamid al-Sabah, may Allah protect him, in the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP29, embodies the firm commitment to environmental and climate change issues.
Following the Crown Prince's speech, it's clear that COP29 represents a crucial conjuncture in addressing global climate change, which is the foundation for today's topics. Dr. Khalid, could you outline the key themes and strategic priorities emphasized in the representative of the Emir's speech, and how does Kuwait view its role in supporting international efforts on climate change?
Let me start by saying that His Highness Representative, the Crown Prince, His Highness Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid, did articulate the commitment of the state of Kuwait toward the climate change. And there are very interesting points that have been very well reiterated, reaffirmed, and asserted by His Highness the Crown Prince, representing His Highness Sheikh Mish'al al-Sabah, Hafidhullah wa Raha. So what we are looking at here is a firm commitment, reaffirming the commitment that's been announced in Kuwait. And if we look at this speech from a very important direction and from important angle with respect to the climate change initiative, we see the following. The number one is what I call the commitment of Kuwait for carbon neutrality being asserted and affirmed by His Highness speech. It was very clear that Kuwait is still committed for the 2050 carbon neutrality for the oil sector, 2060 for the whole country for carbon neutrality. And this is, by the way, lead me to a very important gesture by Kuwait. Kuwait is an oil producing country, and at the same time it's committed for carbon neutrality.
Yes.
This will give a very important commitment that a country like Kuwait, which its economy depends on oil, at the same time is committed for carbon neutrality, which means that the global concern of climate change is being taken seriously by Kuwait and the Kuwaiti government and the Kuwaiti leadership.
You mentioned carbon neutrality for 2060. In your opinion, what are the initial or steps that needs to be taken by the state of Kuwait to achieve that?
They're already being done. I mean, if we look at a lot of initiatives in the country that has been ongoing right now, actually they lead to the carbon neutrality thing. One of them is starting with the governance of the climate change, because currently it is being ruled and being led by the Minister of Oil. The what I call the Climate Change Committee. It started in Kuwait a few years ago with a commitment in order to fulfill that the 2060 commitment and 2050 in the oil sector, carbon neutrality. Several projects were being already initiated in KBC. KBC 2 months ago, led by engineer Badr Attar and under the patronage and supervision of Sheikh Nawaf, KPC chairman. Actually, they are focusing on introducing carbon neutrality, a green economy, circular economy, integrated within the KPC strategy and being part of all the KPC subsidies and all the KPC companies, which give you a very interesting gesture that even oil producing country like Kuwait with an oil company committed for the carbon neutrality. And this has been very well stated by His Highness the Crown Prince. Another issue that very much stated is the environment sustainability. Kuwait signed in 2015 the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal, and also signed the Kyoto Convention, the Paris Agreement, even sustainable development financing in Addis Ababa. So all of these are very important conventions and a very important agreement signed by globally, and Kuwait always is being part of this initiative. This is very well articulated by His Highness the Crown Prince. Another one, which is to support building the capacity of the negotiators, building the capacity of the green economy, of circular economy. Under His Highness the Crown Prince, during his term as a Prime Minister, the Kuwait government program included circular economy as part of it, carbon neutrality, energy transition, which is being very well integrated with the government program as well as the Kuwait National Development Plan. So what we are looking at here, commitment by Kuwait for carbon neutrality, net zero, which is a very crucial to what we are looking at right now. And another important highlight from his speech, His Highness speech, is the commitment of Kuwait for two initiatives being already announced: the presidency initiative, which is the one related to the water for climate change, and call for a truce. And if we are looking at the importance of this event, which is running right now in Baku, COP29, there were a lot of initiatives. And these are the most important two initiatives set by the presidency. And there are other initiatives relating to financing of development and also to the engagement of the non-government sectors, private sector and other sector, to be engaged in issues related to the climate change. One of them, it is related to finance, trade and investment. This is a very important initiative, and it is already being discussed in the COP29 as an important initiative. Yes, it is a voluntarily introduction to countries to be part of it, but these are also an important initiative. But the two initiatives that have been highly emphasized in His Highness speech are the water for climate change, and I do believe this is a very important initiative, and the other one which is being called for a truce, which is a very important as well, in order to quote unquote save the planet before it is too late.
Yes.
And if you look at a very important report which is discussed in COP29, it is called the Adaptation Gap Report 2024. This report, I have to admit, it is one of the few reports produced by United Nations, by UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, which actually give bold statement of urging all countries on the globe, around the world, to take serious action to counter the impact of the climate change. It is one of the clearest, to the point, and clearly stating that let's do something before it is too late. That report, which I really find very intriguing, very crucial, that taking action right now, it's never a luxury, it is a necessity, especially that it hit hard poor population around the world. and action be taken seriously. So these are interesting points that's happening in COP29, and with the emphasis of His Highness, and one of the interesting highlight as well in His Highness' speech is discussing 50% of Kuwait electricity to be produced by solar by 2050. We used to have a target, and the Kuwait National Development Plan is to reach 15% by 2035. Now we are talking about 50% by 2050.
A huge commitment.
Which is a very big commitment, especially that there are certain projects need to be expedited.
Infrastructure.
And part of the infrastructure to get what I call clean energy coming from the solar. Currently, we only have some experimental, which reaching 57 megawatt, and what we are talking about is more than 4,500 megawatt and even more. If we talk about 50%, then we talk about roughly 9 to 10 megawatt, 9 to 10 gigawatt of electricity that need to be clean and being produced by solar. Also, there are another commitment being stated, which is 80% of CO2 emission reduction.
Yes.
This is quite huge, by the way. It is not an easy task, but with the initiative that's been done in Kuwait, especially in the Kuwait, the KPC, and the commitment done by KPC, which require a lot of investment, working toward net zero, reducing emission. One of the major projects done on that reduction of emission is the clean fuel project.
Yes.
The conversion of fuel from heavy oil to a clean fuel, which is using gas, which is a bit of a cleaner in the power stations. So there are some, let me put it in a way, some initiative, part of the national plan, part of the government program, but with our ambitious commitment by 2050 and 2060, these need to be highly emphasized, and investment need to be done for the green economy, for the circular economy, from that direction.
Just like you said, the initiative mentioned in the Amiri speech that they're committed for a carbon neutrality by 2050. I also believe it's reflected also in Kuwait Vision 2035 as the initial steps to reach that goal. Now, speaking for future upcoming generations, now what priority should Kuwait focus on to ensure the environmental sustainable future for the upcoming generations and consider the increasing climate challenges, in your opinion?
Well, when we are speaking about the future generation, we have to focus on education, building a green human capital, a human capital that actually understand the importance of the impact of the climate change and how to mitigate it. Kuwait commitment is 2050 for the oil sector, but 2060 is for the whole state of Kuwait for carbon neutrality. When we look at it, we might say that this is far away. Actually, it is not.
No.
The progress needs to be so fast in order to reach that commitment. And by that time, by 2050 and 2060, we talk about another generations which will be leading the fulfillment of this initiative.
Yes.
It won't be in our time maybe, but for our sons, grandsons, granddaughters, that will be really a very serious task to do. However, our generation has the responsibility in order to pave the way for the next generations to pick up what we are doing right now and fulfill these commitments at the global level. So we need education. We need to introduce environment engineering, environment sciences as part of our curriculum, even at the basic level of education. We need to shed the light on the impact of climate change, the importance of understanding renewable energy, a green economy, a green energy, all of these very nice jargon, but the implication of applying these concepts, it is not easy. Sustainability at the end is a very hard concept, by the way, in reality. and require a lot of commitment, a lot of work, changing policy, changing regulation, and also need to be balanced by our economic development, which is based on oil. So we are having a great dilemma, is how to make sure that your development is part of your oil slash economy, and at the same time you are committed for carbon neutrality. This is a very crucial, it's a paradoxical, but it's very crucial. We are committed right now. 2060, Kuwait need to be carbon neutral based on all of the effort need to be done, and that will be another generations coming, which need to be built with the knowledge, equipped with the belief, equipped with the understanding and comprehension of the serious impact of the climate change in the region.
So we should actually work on changing the way we think and how, especially with the record-breaking 1.5 degrees change for 2024, it's affecting the whole environment. But Doctor, if you don't mind, let's take a moment, as I also would like to get some insight from Dr. Yahya Al-Hadban, who is a program manager for renewable energy and energy efficiency at the Energy Building Research Center in Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research, who is participating in Baku. Now, Dr. Yahya, how does Kuwait Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Program contributes to achieving the climate goal of COP29, and what are the strategic plans for expanding these initiatives?
It is of great importance to mention that Kuwait's Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Program is essential in aligning the nation with the climate objectives set forward for COP29 and the goals and objectives of the UNFCCC. By increasing renewable energy capacity and improving energy efficiency in different locations, Kuwait aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and transition towards a more sustainable energy framework. This can be achieved through the renewable energy expansion that Kuwait have announced and highlighted, in addition to the energy efficiency improvement. Also, I'm talking about strategic plans for national expansion. Shagaya Renewable Energy Power Park, for example, this is a flagship project, aims to install approximately 4.5 gigawatt of renewable energy mixed capacity, encompassing solar and wind technologies. The park is a cornerstone for Kuwait's strategic plan to meet its renewable energy targets. Also, working on policy update is of great importance. Also stressing on the energy efficiency measures, the government is implementing policies to curb the growing energy demand, targeting a 10% reduction by 2035. It is of great importance to mention that Kuwait's renewable.
Now, Doctor, what key areas will the program focus on, and what is Kuwait's role in supporting the global shift towards clean and sustainable energy?
The grand important goal is the development and implementation of emerging technologies for energy and sustainable solutions. This is by utilization of renewable energy sources, or utilizing renewable energy sources and improving energy efficiency to reduce Kuwait's per capita energy consumption and carbon emissions. Kuwait Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Program concentrates on several key areas. One of them is scaling renewable energy capacity. This is reflected in the national plans of Kuwait through many renewable energy projects. The second point is enhancing energy efficiency, which is a very important element that really has a priority and comes before planning for renewable energy that will lead to reduction in capital investment. The third point is developing hydrogen strategies. Kuwait is exploring the potential of hydrogen as a clean energy source, with initiatives aimed at establishing a hydrogen strategy to support the energy transition. Also implementing carbon capture technologies. Of course, we need to stress that Kuwait's role in supporting the global shift toward clean and sustainable energy is multi-facted. One important point is like economic diversification. By investing in renewable energy and energy efficiency, Kuwait is reducing its resilience, or Kuwait is reducing its reliance on oil revenues, thereby contributing to a more diversified and resilient global energy economy.
Thanks to Dr. Yahya Al-Hadban, Project Manager for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency at the Energy and Research Building and at the Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research, whose input from Baku. And now back to my esteemed guest, Dr. Khaled Mehdi. As a former member of the Climate Change Committee, how do you see the role of COP29 and can it play in raising public awareness about climate change in Kuwait?
I have to admit that this COP29 is very crucial. As compared to the COP28, which is done in Dubai, it was really paving the way to more awareness on what is going on at the climate change impact. COP29 actually is raising the level of awareness to a higher level, especially after I mentioned the adaptation gap report, which is becoming, if you compare it to the adaptation gap report of 2023, I would say that this one is really has more strong language. Especially we are facing wars in the region around the world. This is contribute to the environment destruction, and that also contribute to the climate change.
Yes.
So this 29 is coming in a very crucial time. A lot of issues is being escalated when it comes to the environment. Now, as you can see, more severe hurricanes, severe cyclones around the world. These are not one single events. They are coming more infrequent. Yes. Obviously, the rise of the temperature is becoming a very important issue. We are not seeing a greater progress since the Paris Agreement. And this is why that report, especially this one, came with a very big statement, with a very strong statement with regard to the importance of taking crucial step, urgent step, in order to counter what is going on as the impact of the climate change. So back to your question, setting the ground for this type of scene that currently around the globe is happening, awareness is becoming at a much higher level, and it is highly needed now to take things seriously. And I would like to invite all the experts to read the Adaptation Gap Report to 2024, because it is sending strong messages, which I did not see myself in previous report. Meaning, especially poor areas around the world is being hit very hard. Humans living in this area, population in this area, facing problems at a very great level. Mr. Antonio Guterres in the last General Assembly stated clearly that sustainability and SDG are not fully achieved, and we are coming to 2030 in 5 years. Not many of these SDGs have been fulfilled, especially the one with regarding to the environment. I would say that we might encounter failure of the whole global arena in order to be committed and fulfill and compacting the climate change. So yes, COP29 raised the awareness again, and I do believe that there will be a continuation of the COP that actually require more and more awareness of the impact of climate change. To me, sometimes it's very surprising that I find some people referring to the climate change, it's a hoax, and there is no such thing called the climate change. Well, we have to accept the climate change as being scientifically studied, and need to be looked seriously, and the impact of climate change need to be mitigated and countered.
Dr. Khalid Mehdi, Associate Professor at the College of Engineering and Petroleum at Kuwait University and former Secretary General of the Supreme Council for Planning and Development. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and we really appreciate your valuable input.
Thank you very much to give me the opportunity to shed the light on some of the few things with regarding to COP29.
Well, we'll take this moment to show a special report on COP29 and the efforts of the state of Kuwait in addressing climate change, and then we'll continue with our coverage.
COP29 is one of the most important global platforms that brings together countries to discuss the environmental challenges caused by climate change and to find effective solutions for reducing emissions and developing sustainable development policies. The conference aims to enhance international cooperation in addressing the global environment crisis and justifying the impact of climate change on the planet. The state of Kuwait, a country that heavily relies on oil as a primary source of revenue, fully recognized the necessity of adapting to climate changes and developing sustainable strategies in the field. Through its participation in COP29, Kuwait seeks to enhance its role in protecting the environment and implementing effective policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote renewable energy development. Kuwait's strategy to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060 is one of its main objectives within its commitment to international climate agreements. The country has developed numerous national initiatives in the regard, such as investing in renewable energy projects and enhancing energy efficiency across various sectors. The state of Kuwait is also focused on supporting innovation in clean energy with particular emphasis on solar and wind energy projects to reduce its reliance on conventional energy sources. Furthermore, Kuwait is strengthening its effort by involving the private sector in environmental and sustainability initiatives, which helps amplify the national effort to combat climate change. At COP29, the state of Kuwait hopes to play a prominent role in promoting regional and international cooperation on sustainable development and environmental protection through knowledge sharing and building partnerships with other countries and international organizations to achieve global environmental goals. COP29 represents an important opportunity for Kuwait to continue its efforts toward sustainable development and ensure an environmentally secure future for the future generations. Kuwait continues to strive to be an active part on the global solution to face climate challenges.
The participation of the representative of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al al-Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, His Highness the Crown Prince, Sheikh Sabah Khalid al-Hamid al-Sabah, may Allah protect him, in the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP29, embodies the firm commitment to environmental and climate change issues.
Welcome back to the special live coverage of COP29. Now joining us now in the studio is Dr. Mshari Al-Mtairi, Assistant Professor in the Environmental Department at Abdullah Salim University and Environmental Consultant, to give us an expert view of COP29. Good to have you with us, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good evening, and Good evening to our viewers right now.
Dr. Mshari, let's get into it. In line with COP29's theme, how can innovation alleviate the effects of the industrial pollution in Kuwait's soil and air, and how do you envision Kuwait's future in adopting these initiatives?
Okay, first of all, we need to know that Kuwait facing a lot of challenges, especially if you are talking about any issues or any disaster has been resulted from the oil sectors. Right now, we know that Kuwait has become as a leader, especially in the oil fields, and we are expecting a lot of like residue, for example, the oily contaminated soil, and this is considered one of the big challenges which has been like faced since 30 years back, especially after the Iraq invasion us. Still we have huge quantities of oil still need to be treated. This is one of the challenges, and we have still the emission reductions, and this is one of our target here in Kuwait. Everybody knows that recent Kuwait oil companies has disciplined that we are going to make like zero net emission in 2050. And further, we have like one of our target, which is the renewable energies. So the renewable energy, we have like a couple of projects, Shigaya project. This is still kind of challenges because there is such rules. But alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, the last like 5 years, we overcome all these challenges, and the renewable energy for Shigaya project is implemented, and right now it's running in the field.
Dr. Mshari, what innovative technology in soil remediation do you believe will be crucial for Kuwait to reduce carbon emission, especially in area, as you mentioned earlier, that is affected by oil?
Okay, if we are talking about the soil remediation, right now we need to know that which type of oil contamination that we have. The type of oil contamination, we are dealing with withered oil contamination. That means we are not dealing like with a fresh contamination oil anymore, because when Iraq invasion us in 1990, huge quantities of oil lake had released. Yes, and for what they know as the Kuwaiti oil lake, and unfortunately all these oil lake has been like leached to the groundwater. And right now our groundwater, some parts of our groundwater, based on the recent papers which has been published by KISR, they found is affected by the PAH, which is the polyaromatic hydrocarbon, which is considered one of the main source of carcinogenic compounds. And right now there is a lot of technologies has been suggested in Kuwait to treat this contamination. For example, we have something we call it phytoremediations. The phytoremediation is kind of plants. They only like dig it in the ground. It's able to extract all the chemicals, and it's able to treat it by making like extraction process. And further, we have like soil washing technologies. There is a lot of technologies has been suggested from other companies, but I think this point need to be focused a little bit. All the companies, when they came to Kuwait, they surprised actually. Because when they came, they thought that the contamination that they are dealing with here in Kuwait, it's kind of fresh contamination. When I'm saying fresh, that means there is a volatile, there is semi-volatile, at least I can smell something. But in fact, when you are going to the field, you will not smell anything at all, because all the contamination has been evaporated long times ago. And right now we are dealing with high chain or long chain, therefore the type of contamination is considered of high challenge. And it's required a special technique, and that's why most of the companies, when they came, they faced these challenges, and this is give us a new potential to enhance the field of R&D. Therefore, the R&D, we found recent, this is a very good field and very good channels to find the best technology to deal with a withered contamination. Because at the moment we are not dealing with oil contaminated soil, we are dealing with
residue and that's
withered.
Weathered.
There is no volatile. You cannot smell anything. You are dealing with the blacky sand. So that means we are dealing with withered, which required a special technique. When I'm saying special technique, that's required a lot of R&D.
Interesting. Doctor, what practical steps should Kuwait take to reduce greenhouse gases emission, and how can the public or private partnership contribute to achieving climate goals?
Okay, this is a very critical question, to be honest. Right now, Kuwait has been established like several channels to face these kind of like kind of environmental challenges. So we have, like, for example, before I go deeply and suggest what's the solution, let's see what the channels has been provided and supplied by our state. We have, like, for example, Kisar, we have like KFAS, we have like Subah Al-Ahmed Forgiveness and Creativities, and further we have like R&D and R&T in all oil sectors. Imagine, all of them, they are exist to find the best solution which able to face any challenges which has been resulted from the greenhouse gases. So the question, how we can face and how we can treat or how we can deal with these challenges. For example, we need to make like a new field and a new enhancement process regarding for the artificial intelligence about the monitoring, for example. We need to make such investment. I'm not saying like normal investment, I'm saying a huge investment in the renewable energies. Also, we need to green or make like a space green for landing, which is actually give us the potential to achieve the sustainability. Also, we need to think about what's the cycle growth in terms of the economical parts and how we can achieve the integrated waste management. Imagine all these factors. If we combine them, I think the greenhouse gases can be reduced in somehow.
Well, as my previous guest, Dr. Khalid Mehdi, also mentioned, the initiatives are spearheaded by KNPC and the oil companies to tackle such issues that you mentioned earlier, and we still need to actually focus and invest and get the private sector involved in this as well. Dr. Mshari, before we continue, I would like to pause here and speak to Ms. Jinan Behzad, the Secretary General of Kuwait Environmental Protection Society, to get her views on the subject. Ms. Jinan, how does Kuwait International Protection Society contribute to Kuwait's climate change goals, and what the key initiative implemented to tackle climate change?
KIPS plays a vital role in supporting Kuwait climate goals by developing active civil engagements and promoting community-driven initiatives. One of our programs is the Green Schools program, which integrates the sustainability education directly into schools. This initiative encouraged the students to adopt more green practices and inspire them to become school environmental activists. Since 2012, we've held workshops and training sessions on climate change, covering important topics like biodiversity, marine environment, and energy-saving practices. Also, CAPS dedicated to raising public awareness through widespread campaigns across Kuwait. These campaigns focus on the importance of sustainable practices, emphasizing how each individual can contribute to mitigate climate change, whether it's waste reduction and energy conservation. Our goal is to foster a community that's more mindful to its environmental impacts. We are proud to organize community projects such as tree planting and beach cleanups. These initiatives enhance the local environment and build a sense of community involvement toward climate goals.
With your participation in COP, what contribution or activities will KEPS bring to the conference?
This year, we will participate in the COP and focus on scientific research. Also, there will be a commitment from KEPS on the environmental sustainability topics and to contribute to the global dialogue on climate change mitigation and adaptation in the COP exhibition. Our participation in the Conference of the Parties will be focused on scientific research. Dr. Mish'al Abdullah is a member of KEPS research group, and he will present one of his projects in greening the desert, which addresses one of the most pressing challenges in arid regions, that is achieving the food security and water sustainability. Also, KEPS, as usual, will highlight the Kuwait commitments to environmental sustainability, and they will contribute in the COP exhibition with the Arab members of the NGOs.
Another extended thanks to Ms. Jinan Bazad, the Secretary General of Kuwait Environmental Protection Society, for her valuable insights. Now, returning once again to our guest in the studio, Dr. Mshari Al-Mtairi. To continue our conversation, how can COP29 contribute to raising public awareness in Kuwait about the importance of reducing emissions and pollution, particularly concerning air and soil safety?
Okay, right now let's talk about the awareness and what's the rule in Kuwait and what we have done to increase the awareness. First of all, we need to know a good point that what we had done to increase the awareness before. Just to go back to what we just discussed about the soil remediation, actually, I'm not quite sure if you know at this point that we are the first country in the whole world who had awarded the compensation around $3 billion from the United Nations to rehabilitate the soil, to rehabilitate the oil contaminated soil, which is actually, we are so proud that we are so willing, and our mentality to protect the environmental, it's not like it came on the way. It's from the previous years. So right now we have taken this amount of the money to rehabilitate the oil contaminated soil, which is we need to raise the hat for the people who are working on the field. And further, if we are talking about the renewable energies, what we had done in the previous years, actually, you know that the Shigaya project, it was not commitment in Kuwait to implement this project. Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed, the past Highness, Allah yarhamu yaghfirlah, he suggested this project. So imagine all the other countries, for example, the United States, China, India, they follow our steps. We become a very good example. All the countries, they said, imagine the Kuwait, they don't have any commitment to implement like this kind of renewable project, but they are doing just to show the other company that we have such commitment and discipline for all the agreements. Therefore, imagine if we are good example in the whole world. So what about the awareness that we have done over here? Right now, the awareness, you can say that, for example, in Abdullah Salim universities, we have the first department for environmental in the Kuwait, which is that's reflect a very good image that we are still have a commitment and discipline about all the roles and about all the commitment that we had been signed in United Nations and whatever, or with any organization. Further, there is such a process, and like suggestion, I think from COP29 they will issue that. For example, they need to increase like the awareness through different channels. One of the big channels, which is encouragement and incentive certifications for anyone who will be, I'm talking about like civilian community, or I'm talking like any population, for example. If they are going to follow the rules, there is some kind of incentive and there is some kind of certification to become as kind of appreciations. Further, we have like real-time monitoring. What is the real-time monitoring? This is a very good point to increase the awareness for all the populations. Actually, we have here in Kuwait some website which has been created by Kiba, which is Kuwait Environmental Public Authority. They suggested Bi'atuna. Through Bi'atuna, you can detect and see about all, like, for example, all the air emissions, all the water qualities, all the soil monitoring, any disaster, any contamination, you can check it in daily basis. Imagine. No one in the whole world, even in GCC, has something like Bi'atuna. So we are so clear with all viewers about if you get like any rumors, you hear some contamination here, or there is a leaching over there, or for example the air emission is increased.
You can go to the platform and check.
Exactly. Yeah. No one in the whole country had done. We are open channels. This has become we are so proud. We have something like a positive point, and that's why we have a very good commitment with other countries. And further, we can see like public-private partnership with other communities. This is actually, I think this part need to be encouraged more to show the others why we need to make like increase the awareness for the publications.
Interesting. I would like to go back to the challenges facing Kuwait, especially in improving air and soil quality amid the ongoing industrial and oil activities. How might Kuwait participation in COP29 support or overcome these challenges?
Okay, now, if you are going to see what's our role in COP29, actually, I think Kuwait today is playing a significant role in COP29. Especially, we are one of the countries who are always commitment to support the low-income development countries. This fund has been established since COP27. Okay, some of the country, they were commitments, some others, they were not like all COP, they were paid, but we are so proud about the COP, once the COP27, about how, for example, how the fund has been created. We have the Kuwait Fund. Okay, the Kuwait Fund
for Arab
development. Imagine, the Kuwait has been established, this fund in 1960,
yes,
and before, like more than 60 years back. And imagine all the other world, around 200 countries, they are follow what the Kuwait had been suggesting before 60 years back. Imagine. So imagine all the countries, they are established and they have done a lot of communities, a lot of meetings to do what we have done about 60 years back.
Correct.
And right now, with this fund, we are so proud. His Highness, they declared that we are commitment with all agreements, so the fund will be supported, and especially, the United States will be retreated from the COP29. So once the United States is retreated from the COP29, it shows to us and reflect some countries, there will not be like commitment with this fund. So, but right now we are still reflect a very good image in the COP29 about all the commitment, about all the agreements.
Well, before we conclude with you, Doctor, as a specialist in environmental engineering, how do you view Kuwait's role in COP29 under the theme Investing in a Sustainable Planet for All, and what initiative can help reduce the environmental impact of oil-related activities, as you mentioned earlier?
Actually, we just clarify this. We have like 4 different channels. And right now, especially everybody knows we are one of the leader company in oil sectors. We have a lot of we have like 2 refineries, and we are digging in the ground to extract the oil, but still we are targeting to reduce the emission. So as we just clarify that in 2050 we are aiming to make like 0 emissions. We are aiming to treat the oily contaminated soil by using a bioremediation technologies. That means there is no any incineration, there is no any chemicals. That give us still a very good image and reflect a good image to the whole world. Still we are oil company or oil countries, and we are still commitment with other agreements by investing in renewable energies like Azure refineries. And for example, the Azure refineries is aiming to reduce the greenhouse gases around 7.5% in 2030. Okay, so this is all the projects that we are going to implement, inshallah, soon.
Dr. Bashar Mtairi, Assistant Professor in the Environmental Department at Abdullah Salim University and Environmental Consultant. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
As we conclude our special coverage for tonight, we extend our sincere gratitude to our distinguished guests for their insights and to our viewers for your engagement. This discussion has highlighted Kuwait's active role in the global stakes in addressing climate change through COP29. We look forward to continue these essential conversation on our shared future. Until then, thank you for joining us.